Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and gender fluids of every denomination, and welcome back to the Boiler Room. Yay! So we've been travelling for a while now, so I think we're actually getting quite into this. We've even had Rich with us for a while. So let me introduce my co-hosts. I have Katie Ward.
Hello, I'm going to wave again.
Mark Jenkins.
Good evening.
Always suave, debonair type. And Rich Boarman, our resident wizard.
Howdy.
And I'm Kit Cox. So welcome back to the Boiler Room. Tonight we're going to just talk about our general things. We will probably have more of a general random debate and chat tonight, I think. Just find out what's going on. There's been lots of interest in when we're doing these, people actually asking us what's actually going on, what people are up to, and
how
the like.
How can people join in?
Yeah, how can people join in? I mean, we are thinking of doing some special guests coming along. We did a Doctor Who episode last week, and there are people out there that do fantastic impressions of Doctor Who, so we could have some of them along maybe, or do little sound bites for stuff like that. And also it'd be nice to get some other steampunks along to talk about sort of like their craft, or maybe get some other magicians along. Magicians, I do apologise. Other wizards. Wow.
Some conjurer of cheap tricks. Hello, dragons.
Wow.
So
you want them?
you put your wand away.
Yeah, keep it there.
Not what you normally say.
So we're just going to say. So has anyone got anything that they want to say on their genres or anything in particular? I know that Mark is champing at the bit to do a reading from H P Lovecraft. So I think we should start with that. I'm all up for a little bit of Mark's H P Lovecraft. So far away, sir.
Thank you very much. I shall open my weighty tome.
I wish we had the visuals for that as well.
I'm quite impressed with that, you know.
Behind the creepy door.
The fact there was a mime that went along with that was brilliant. So that was awesome.
This is H.P. Lovecraft's story, The Hound.
Oh.
In my tortured ears there sounds unceasingly a nightmare, whirring and flapping, and a faint distant baying, as if some gigantic hound. It is not a dream, it is not, I fear, even madness, for too much has already happened to give me these merciful doubts. St. John is a mangled corpse, I alone know why, and such is my knowledge that I am about to blow out my brains, for fear I shall be mangled in the same way. Down unlit and illimitable. Oh.
That's a polo mint freak.
Yes.
Corridors. Have a sip of tea, darling.
Corridors of eldritch fantasy sweeps the black shapeless nemesis that drives me to self-oblivion. May heaven forgive the fully morbid which leads us to both such a monstrous fate, wearied with commonplaces of the prosaic world, where even the joys of romance and adventure soon grow stale. St. John and I followed enthusiastically every aesthetic and intellectual movement which promised respite from our devastating ennui. The enigmas of the symbolists? Oh, okay. And the ecstasies of the pre-Raphaelites. Oh, the engine's picking up again. All were ours in their time, but each new mood was drained too soon of its diverting novelty and appeal. Only the sombre philosophy of the decadent could help, and this we found potent only by increasing gradually the depth and diabolism of our penetrations.
He said penetration.
Baudelaire and Hymens were soon exhausted of thrills.
Penetrating the hymens.
Oh no.
Till finally there remained for us only the more distinct stimuli of unnatural, personal experiences and adventures. It was this frightful emotional need which led us to which led us eventually to that detestable course which even in my present fear I mention with shame and timidity, that hideous extremity of human outrage, the abhorred practice of grave robbing. I cannot reveal the details of our shocking expeditions, or catalogue even partly the worst of our trophies adorning the nameless museum we prepared in the great stone house which we jointly dwelt, alone and servantless. Our museum was a blasphemous, unthinkable place, where with the satanic taste of neurotic virtuosos we had assembled a universe of terror and decay to excite our jaded sensibilities. It was a secret room, far, far underground, where huge winged demons, carved of basalt and onyx, vomited forth from wide grinning mouths, weird green and orange lights, and hidden pneumatic pipes, ruffled into kaleidoscopic dances of death, the lines of red carnal things, hand in hand, woven in voluminous black hangings. Through these pipes came at will the odours our moods most craved. No, that was you, wasn't it?
Pipes and odours, yeah.
Sometimes the scent of pale funeral lilies, sometimes the narcotic incense of imagined eastern shrines of the kingly dead, and sometimes, how I shudder to recall it, the frightful, soul-upheaving stenches of the uncovered grave. Around the walls of this repellent chamber were cases of antique mummies, alternating with comely, lifelike bodies, perfectly stuffed and cured by the taxidermist's art, and with headstones snatched from the oldest churchyards of the world. Niches here and there contained skulls of all the world, and heads preserved in various stages of dissolution. There one might find the rotting, bald pates of famous noblemen, and the fresh and radiantly golden heads of newly buried children. Statues and paintings they were, all of fiendish subjects, and some executed by St. John and myself. A locked portfolio bound in tanned human skin held certain unknown and unnameable drawings, which it was rumoured Goya had perpetrated but dared not acknowledge. There were nauseous musical instruments, stringed brass and woodwind, on which St. John and I sometimes produce dissonance of exquisite morbidity and cacodemoniacal ghastliness, whilst in a multitude of inlaid ebony cabinets reposed the most incredible and unimaginable variety of tomb loot ever assembled by human madness and perversity. It is of this loot in particular that I must not speak. Thank God I had the courage to destroy it long before I thought of destroying myself. The predatory excursions on which we collected our unmentionable treasures were always artistically memorable events. We were no vulgar ghouls, but worked only under certain conditions of mood, landscape, environment, weather, season, and moonlight. These pastimes were to us the most exquisite form of aesthetic expression, and we gave their details even, a fastidious technical care. An inappropriate hour, a jarring lighting effect, or a clumsy manipulation of the damp sod would almost totally destroy it for us, that ecstatic titillation which followed the exhumation of some ominous grinning secret of the earth. Our quest for novel scenes and piquant conditions were feverish and insate. St. John was always the leader, and he it was who led the way at last to that mocking, accursed spot which brought us our hideous and inevitable doom. By which malign fatality we lured to that terrible Holland great churchyard. I think it was a dark rumour, and legendary, the tales of one buried for 5 centuries, who had himself been a ghoul in his time, and had stolen a potent thing from mighty sepulchre. I can recall the scene in their final moments. The pale autumnal moon over the graves casting long horrible shadows, the grotesque trees drooping sullenly to meet the neglected grass, and the crumbling slabs, the vast legions of strangely colossal bats that flew against the moon, the antique ivied church pointing a huge spectral finger at the livid sky, the phosphorescent insects that danced like death fires under the yews in a distant corner, the odours of mould, vegetation, and less explicable things that mingled feebly with the night wind from over vast swamps and seas, and worst of all, the faint deep-toned baying of some gigantic hound, which we could neither see nor definitely place. As we heard the suggestions of baying, we shuddered, remembering the tales of the peasantry, for he whom we sought had centuries been found in this self-same spot, torn, mangled, and savaged by the claws and teeth of some unspeakable beast. Unspeakable beast, must be your turn, Kit.
Wow.
There's another 6 pages you've got me to go on.
No, we're all right.
It was just like Jack and Ori, wasn't it?
It was just like Jack and Ori, except
That's how you talk on the phone. That's the voice you put on the phone. Just that I recognised it all of a sudden.
I was looking forward to the unspeakable beasts. I mean, the good thing is about we're not actually out amongst the unspeakable beasts. But you didn't bring any with you, did you?
No.
Good. Well,
Sorry about that. Did I frighten you?
I think you frightened a few of us.
Did I cause perturbation?
Did you? I don't know.
None of that down here, thank you.
Is there a wolf on board?
I think there is a wolf on board. I think it's out.
I've now got the phone all over my teacup.
You've had worse than that teacup.
And in my mouth.
So there you go. That was a very wonderful telling from Mark before he just spat tea all down himself. So there you go. H.P. Lovecraft, a little bit scary, a little bit dramatic, and lots of words which make children giggle like idiots.
Yeah.
He said penetration. He said titillating.
I haven't even got to a crevice yet.
He avoided the crevices. So, is there a reading you'd like to do as well, Katie?
Yes, I thought I'd do a reading from the
King
no.
Solomon's Mines. That's a good read.
No reading from me, but I thought I'd a little I can't remember right now, a little update of what's happening amongst Great Kent Expectations in the next, I guess, month or so, really.
Okay.
So we've got the GK Punknik, which is our steam.
okay.
Yeah, so we're having a picnic, and we have to change the location because
Newsflash.
Okay.
So it's a news flash that it's a punk nick.
It's changed location.
It's changed location. It was originally meant to be on Detling Hill. Actually, I think by the time this comes out, it would have already. Oh no, we've already had. We've already had it. No, it's the time travel. It's the time travel element of everything. It's just got into my head, and I forgot that we've actually already had it.
Did you enjoy it? Did you have a really good time?
Yes, it was really good.
Yeah.
So we had the familiar cannon, and we have a baseball bat for the familiar cannon now, so we can play familiar rounders. So
I found 20 quid.
that's a new that's a new thing we're doing. But we've got kind of a quiet few weeks coming up. But shut up. But we have got the Sheppey Pirate Weekend coming up, and we're all very excited.
Are you
for
sure
that.
we haven't already had it?
Yeah, it's a time travelling. It's a time travelling element.
Would you like
Sorry,
me to read more?
it gets into my head. No, don't do that. But we have got the Sheppey Pirate Weekend, which is coming up, and that's quite a big event for Great Kent Expectations. I believe you came last year.
I did come last year. Yeah.
It's the one.
So I did. It's a fantastic event. It's a great one for families. I mean, I took my kids, and they ran around in the incredibly fetid water for a very long time. So it's a great place to go and see pirates in a pitch battle with hillbillies.
Nice.
So yeah, I was going to say I thought it was fantastic. It had a real...
Those are the locals.
Are they really?
Yes.
that would explain all the banjo music.
But yeah, that's going on
The
the
hills have eyes.
5th and 6th of August, I believe. And
Okay.
so the Saturday, which is the giant water fight of hugeness, which happens. So we have the
It's the most violent water fight.
It is. It's
I think you
horrendously
can.
violent.
Yeah. I
the
think-
pirates come in on little rowboats, and then we're faced with a wall of children and angry adults with water bombs.
Drunk, angry adults.
Drunk, angry adults.
Drunk
But
angry adults
it-
have had to queue 2.5 hours for a burger, if I remember rightly last time.
But we're looking forward to it. We GK will have a stand in a medieval tent,
Oh,
so that'd be interesting.
steampunk's in a medieval
I know,
tent.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, reenactment household, we have a medieval tent lying around.
So steampunk's at a pirate event, so in a medieval tent.
Yeah. But we will be trading. There'll be a few steampunk traders there, and the cobbler elf will be trading there.
The cobbler elf is
yeah.
awesome. I need to go and see him about fixing a bag. So.
But if you, as I said, the
What's the
Saturday.
name?
Cobbler elf and assassin.
But yeah, the Saturday is the water fight, but on the Sunday it's a bit more of a living history reenactment type thing. So the pirates have a big camp there, and they will get out their lovely shiny weapons
Of
to
course
show
they do.
off.
Cool. The hillbillies are hung over, so
Yeah.
they might not show.
So
They
they
might
have the
show on the
cannon
Sunday.
display. They have all the musket firing, and they normally do a
I've got to admit, I'm so gay for pirates at the
Yeah.
moment.
Because you started watching Black Sails, though.
I was going to say, I've wanted to watch Black Sails since it first came out, and it was just one of those shows that I just never got the chance. It was on a thing that I couldn't get hold of, and I was bought the first 3 seasons of it for my anniversary, and it's up to 6 seasons, I think. So, so I got the first 3 seasons, and bloody hell, it's an awesome show. And it amazes me the amount of people that are into pirates that haven't actually watched it. But I'm a real big fan of Treasure Island, and the fact that for all intents and purposes, it is the prequel to Treasure Island. It's got Long John Silver in it. It's got Captain Flint. But of course, it's a weird one because it's against historical pirates, and because I'm a bit of a historical geek when it comes to pirates, I know that sort of like the backgrounds they're giving of some of the pirates, you're thinking that's not actually their background. But they're good backgrounds. But it's weird when people use historical characters and then give them fake backgrounds. But then the weird thing is most of them are dying in a historical way. So it's almost like I've had spoilers since I was about 11 for the show. But and also you know what's going to happen because it's Treasure Island. You know who's going to survive to the end.
Out of interest, what is your favourite film version of Treasure Island?
What's my favourite film version of Treasure Island? I think this is be the moment where most people will be shouting at their laptops.
There is a right answer.
There is a
The
right-
Muppets.
Yeah.
That's great, yeah.
That's what everyone will be shouting. Do you know what? My favourite version of Treasure Island was when I was a child. There was a BBC television series of Treasure Island, and it was 15 Men on a Dead Man's Chest. I remember being sung as the theme tune. I'm assuming it was called Treasure Island, but that was my favourite version because it went on for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Is that the one with Brian Blessed?
It could have had Brian Blessed in it. I don't know. I was a child at the time, but But it was the one that made me really, really get into Treasure Island and go and read the books and things like that. Play the
Hurdy-gurdy.
ZX81 game of it. So why? What is the definitive answer?
For me, it's the Charlton Heston version. Around about 1990, I believe, and it had a very, very young Christian Bale as Jim Hawkins.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
Love that version.
I've got to be honest with you, I didn't like that. So I'm a big Charlton Heston fan. I like Charlton Heston, but he does tend to play Charlton Heston.
Yes.
And
National Rifle Association.
yeah, and I would. What was that?
Soylent Green is people.
Soylent Green is people, but not on board ship. You can have apples on board the
Yeah.
ship. I have literally just watched this evening with my children Treasure Planet. which is one of my favourite Disney movies. I like Treasure Planet. I like.
It's really highly underrated though. It's not really one
God,
of,
yeah,
it's,
incredibly highly underrated. Yeah.
It came out and then everyone kind of forgot about it.
Yeah,
it was a great film.
I think Disney was going through that period of time where they had stopped singing songs.
Yeah.
And did have a strong steampunk aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, yeah.
Strike
I was going to say
really.
it had everything. I like Aliens, and I think cartoons do Aliens so well, and Disney does Aliens so well. I mean, if you've seen the Lilo and Stitch things, the way they do the aliens are just phenomenal. But yeah, Treasure Planet, so maybe that's up there. But it would be the BBC TV series rather than an actual film, because I think films phone it in. To be honest with you, they know that the plot is very it's far-reaching, and all they can really do is a load of people go to an island, dig up treasure, and go away from the island. It's one of the dullest pirate things, really, when you think about it in that respect. But it's I don't know. I really like it. I like the characters, but it's very pirate-light. It's Treasure
That's
Island.
great, though.
It is great. Yeah.
I would like to see a new pirate film, real gritty and dark.
Yeah,
Violence.
I think Black Sails has really filled that void for me of having a pirate film or a pirate series which is gritty and grim
I want
and
darker. I want real violence and gore, bloodshed.
well, you need to
Treasure
watch
Heist
Black
film.
Sails. Have you not watched Black Sails?
I saw the first series.
Okay, well, so like by the second
Was that not enough
by
violence?
the
Not nearly.
by the second series, you've got people being beheaded in bars, and there's it is grim as.
Starting to question what's gory and what's not gory enough
Yeah.
now. I'm
Yeah.
quite concerned.
In the very first episode, Captain Flint beats someone to death with his
Yeah, it's
fists.
I mean, you're talking to somebody who watched the original Dawn of the Dead at the age of 5.
Yeah, but you see, like, you must
Become
still.
a
I
bit-
mean, God, you must still know when something's gory and when something's violent. I mean, violence doesn't get diluted. I mean, you are still aware that it's violent.
Yeah, I think I'd like it to be a little more explicit,
Okay.
like more bright red gore splattering
I'm
across the canvas.
glad it's not. I'll be honest with you. So there you go. That's
With zombies?
Zombie pirates, yes.
pirates and dinosaurs.
If you want to
That's what we
find
need.
non-gory pirates, come to Sheppey.
I don't know. Don't go to Sheppey because Rich is going there. So
Rich
like,
is
yeah,
going
don't know what's going.
sword.
You don't know what's going to actually happen in Sheppey now. I was going to say.
Heading hillbillies.
I've put nails in me water bombs. So,
Nice.
so yeah, there's a dark side to wizarding, isn't there? A master of the dark art.
Not for real, but on screen, I do like a bit of gore.
Yeah, I like gore, but I think you can take it too far. I'll be honest with
When
you.
it does become explicit.
I'm a
unneeded.
massive- What's that?
Got to
Herschel
drive the
Gordon
plot.
Lewis.
Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Remember his films?
No.
He did a film called The Gore Girls, and he did one called The Wizard of Gore.
There you go.
I have never ever heard of
H.G.
them.
Lewis.
No.
No, real.
H.G. Lewis.
Yeah.
I love the way
Yeah,
you
real-
shortened his name down to his initials as if to
Well,
go and say,
that's what
"Oh God, that's who
that's
Herschel
what he's-
Gorgeous
yeah.
Lewis is."
Yeah, through the 60s and the 70s, he made sort of all the real pushing the boundaries gore flicks.
Right.
2000 Maniacs, films like that. There was pig raping going on and stuff. It was real nasty
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's not really my cup of tea. I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy a zombie movie, and I prefer my zombie movies to be quite graphic. So, like, but I like them to be graphic because in a zombie movie it becomes comedy when someone like Shaun of the Dead, when someone is pulled apart in a window, that is quite graphic. But at the end of the day, because it's a zombie movie, it becomes almost funny. But yeah, I don't do real hardcore gore. I remember as a child I was reading, you know at school when your teachers couldn't be bothered to teach you and you were told to bring a book in from home. So well, I was reading the book. I was reading one of the Pan horror books, and there's one of the Pan horror classics, and hopefully someone would tell us in the comments, was had two little boys that dissect the little girl next door
Oh,
because they've
God.
dissected all their toys and
Remember that one.
they
Missed
dissect.
out.
They unscrew their toys to find out how they work, then they dissect one of their pet mouse to find out how that works, and they've been playing with the little girl next door, and then it goes into a really graphic description of these children dissecting a little girl using children's toys and play scissors and things like that. And I actually gagged in the classroom and had my history teacher look up as if to say, like, oh, what's going on over there? Are you okay, Cox?
This sounds like Tales of the Unexpected or something.
Yeah, oh god, it was...
I don't know what film it was from, but there was like one where they thought their friend, it was like their teacher got this really hot girlfriend, and they thought it must be an android, and so they just started dissecting her. I can't think what film it is, but it's horrendous. Like, I don't know, but it feels like one of those short story ones. That I can't know what the word is now, but when you have a series of short stories in
A
one.
dream?
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't a dream. I can't remember. I was watching it with you or whether I was watching it with
Was
Rich.
it an anthology?
Yeah.
And it was, and they thought this really attractive girlfriend was a android, and so because he was like a technology and science teacher, so they just thought he'd built it, and then they just started going, oh no, but it must be, oh god, it's really realistic that he's added blood and stuff to it, and then just completely.
I quite like that.
Tales or
Something like that. It was something. It was like something from like one of. It was like an 80s sort of thing.
See, I
it
like.
Just reminded me of that, and I was like, oh god.
I like the same kind of horror movies that Mark likes. I like my horror movies to be hammer horror and sort of like a little bit campy.
I love that stuff too.
So I think the moment it gets too goresome, sort of, you lose the plot. I mean, I've acted in gory films, and when you act in them, it loses obviously some of that magic of Hollywood. But yeah, they just don't do it for me. Not in the way they used to. So it's a teenage thing, I think. But then again, you are only 15, aren't you?
It's something like
Yeah.
that. Approximately.
This guy with the pig, did he go on to be a MP?
I think it came from Sheppey. I'm not sure.
They didn't go on to be an MP or something.
I was trying to be nice and promote this nice Sheppey thing, and then
it's a lovely event.
I think we refer to this episode of the Boiler Room as the episode that time forgot, and we bury it. So, which is probably why we've time travelled during it. It's been awesome. So, is there anything that anybody else would like to say? If you got anything magic related, we keep promising the audience at home Merlin, and we've not delivered yet.
I'll touch briefly on Merlin.
You briefly touched
I did
Merlin.
briefly touch Merlin last week.
Did he think it was magic?
He did. He loved it. Yeah, he loved it. I can see we're quite short on time, so I'm going to tell you about how Merlin got his name. Because originally, of course, he was a Myrddin, Celtic mythology figure. Of course,
Wasn't he originally made up?
No.
Okay.
That was a very stern look. No, he's a real person.
Geoffrey of Monmouth.
I love the fact that so like the other week we had a conversation off air about how fictional Jesus was, even though there are loads of different accounts of him
There's lots of accounts of Merlin
as a real
person.
person.
Probably more accounts of Merlin.
There's lots of accounts of Harry Flashman too. I've got about 15 books of those.
Doctor Who, and Doctor Who was written by all different authors as well, so definitely a real guy.
The Gospel of...
Anyway,
Sorry.
Myrddin. The old poems and the folklore were being translated by Geoffrey of Monmouth, who was a monk, and as was the thing at the time, everything was translated into Latin if it was being recorded. Myrddin didn't have a direct translation, so he had to translate the letter groups, which came out as Myrddin in Latin, which unfortunately means crappy. Obviously, Merd is French.
I honestly thought you were going to
French
say
for...
it means bullshit.
Merd is French for
shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
shit. I didn't want to say that, but yes.
I'm prepared to say pig raping, but
hey, that's not a swear word. It's just two different. Anyway, yes. So he quite astutely, I think, especially for a guy who probably wore sandals around a drafty old monastery, he decided to switch the D for an L and call him Merlin. because he thought that nobody would want to read about the shitty wizard.
And it comes full circle because Tom Baker was a monk, and he was a Time Lord.
Wow, that's
there
very
you go.
true.
And
Wow.
It
It
was in
does.
the Dungeons and Dragons film, which was
It
awful.
really has been a wibbly wobbly, timey wimey episode. Well, that's possibly the weirdest episode of the Boiler Room we've ever had. So I think we should call it. The episode time forgot. But we have had wonderful reading
Don't read anymore, Mark.
from Mark.
Put the book away. Put the book
Put the
away.
book, step away from the book. I'm hoping to, like, I've heard there's been some engine trouble. I don't know if you've heard the engine has been like going in and out as we've been here. So, but hopefully we're gonna. There was a
we
wolf.
have something wrong with the screw, sir.
That could be it. That could be it.
Kicked him out.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to the Boiler Room again, and for a very anarchic week of time travel. So, for my co-host Katie Ward,
Thank you.
Mark
Excuse the time travelling issues.
Mark Jenkins,
Now, as the baying of the dead fleshless monstrosity grows louder and louder, and the stealthy whirring and flapping of these accursed web wings closer and closer, I shall seek with my revolver the oblivion, which is my only refuge from the unnamed and the unnameable. Good night.
And I would like to add that Christmas pudding is a snack that deserves to be enjoyed all year round.
there
And
you
I'll
go.
see you all next week.
Magic. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.